Is Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu finally on the path to the International Criminal Court? This is no longer a question whispered in activist circles or debated behind closed doors. It is now a question being asked openly on the streets, online, in homes swept by grief, and in the global political arena. The events unfolding in Tanzania have reached a point where silence is no longer neutral, it is a side. And today, the country's main opposition party, Chadema, has taken a bold stand by calling upon the United Nations and specifically the International Criminal Court ICC to investigate what they describe as mass killings of civilians under the administration of President Samia Suluhu Hassan. To understand the weight of this moment, we must first understand the atmosphere in Tanzania right now.
Kuna watu hapo waliuawa hapo. Kuna watu waliuawa hapa, mtawaona hapo miili imelala hapo chini. Jamaa naangalia, unaona miili.
What began as demonstrations, ordinary citizens protesting the validity and fairness of the election process, has now transformed into a scene of national distress. Civilians have been met with not dialogue, not with negotiation, but with force, excessive, lethal force. Videos and photographs have emerged from multiple regions showing bodies lying on the ground, some motionless where they fell, others later lined inside overflowing hospitals where doctors are overwhelmed and unable to handle the influx of the wounded and the dead. These are not exaggerated claims spread by rumor. These are visuals documented by citizens who simply refused to look away. But what is even more alarming are the reports now circulating that security forces have begun moving, quietly but deliberately, from hospital to hospital collecting bodies. The alleged goal is not to provide dignified burials or inform families. Instead, the intention, according to those who have witnessed it, is to remove evidence, to erase the physical proof of how many people have lost their lives during what should have been peaceful demonstrations.
Right now we are seeing the videos, the footage that is coming from Tanzania. And in very simple terms, it is a bloodbath. It is a massacre. And we cannot allow ourselves as Africans to accept such a thing happening in any country in Africa. We are also receiving information that the Tanzanian government is trying to hide what has happened by going to hospitals and morgues, collecting bodies. We don't even understand where they're going to take those bodies to. At the same time, they are moving across shops, that are strategically positioned, collecting CCTV evidence. This is a very clear indication that they're trying to hide the atrocities that have been committed.
The goal is to reduce the numbers, to rewrite the record, to control the narrative before the truth reaches the world. At the same time, there is widespread difficulty for the injured to reach medical attention, not just because hospitals are full, but because essential services are failing. Transportation has been disrupted. Communication networks have been intentionally weakened or shut down. Internet access has been restricted. When a government controls information, it controls perception. And when perception is controlled, injustice can be carried out in silence. This is the environment in which Chadema has spoken. Their statement is not merely a political document, it is a cry on behalf of the citizens, a call for accountability, a declaration that what is happening cannot be normalized. They strongly condemn the use of unnecessary and excessive force by state security organs, force which they argue has violated the constitutional and human rights of Tanzanians who sought nothing more than to express their opposition to what they believe was an illegitimate exercise of power during the election. Chadema is demanding that the government immediately stop the violence. They are urging security forces to cease attacking citizens who are not armed, who are demonstrating peacefully, exercising rights that are clearly protected under both national and international law. This is not rebellion. This is not criminal behavior. This is the voice of a population that wants to be heard. But what gives this moment international weight is the next part of the statement. Chadema has directly appealed to the global community. They have called upon the United Nations and specifically the International Criminal Court to urgently conduct an independent investigation into what they describe as killings carried out by the government of Tanzania against its own citizens. The ICC is not called upon lightly. It is a court of last resort where cases of crimes against humanity are examined when national institutions cannot or will not provide justice. To call upon the ICC suggests that Chadema believes the violations occurring are not isolated acts, not mistakes, but systematic and intentional actions designed to suppress political dissent, intimidate the public, and maintain power. Such accusations, if proven, carry severe implications for those in leadership, and this is where the name Samia Suluhu Hassan becomes central. Because when a nation's security forces act, they do so under authority. Command responsibility is a real and enforceable principle under international law. It means that if those giving orders or those failing to stop atrocities can be shown to have allowed these crimes to happen, they can be held directly accountable. So, as families grieve and survivors nurse wounds in silence, this question now stands tall. Will the international community respond? Will the ICC acknowledge this call? And more importantly, will they act? These processes are complex. Investigations take time. Diplomatic negotiations and geopolitical alignments often influence who receives justice and who does not. But the fact remains, once a call like this has been made publicly, it becomes part of the global record. It cannot simply disappear. Meanwhile, within Tanzania, there is fear, but there is also resilience. Despite the threats, despite the risk, citizens continue to speak, to document, to share. In times when governments attempt to blot out truth, ordinary people become the media, the witnesses, the historians of their own struggle. The more efforts are made to suppress information, the more powerful the stories become when they finally reach the outside world. And so, we return to the question, is Samia Suluhu finally going to the ICC? The answer is not immediate. It is not simple. It will depend on evidence, on international pressure, on diplomatic negotiations, and on how the situation continues to unfold in the coming days. But one thing is clear. The call has been made, loudly and publicly. It has been placed before the global community. And once such a call is made, the possibility of accountability becomes real. For now, Tanzania stands at a crossroads. One road leads to dialogue, healing, restoration of social services, reopening of communication channels, and the rebuilding of trust between a government and its people. The other road leads to deeper in silence, suppression, fear, and the possibility of international intervention. History watches, the world watches, and the people, they wait. Thank you so much for watching this. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. We are road to 500,000 subscribers. Bye bye for now.